to look at this insanely racist that happened on CNN earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nazis, stop doing.
You're called an
you've
been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Oh my God. That's insane to say on live national television.
Dude, I'm telling you, people who are pro-Israel are so comfy. Like, you know how we talk about, like, we watched the Madison Square Garden rally and I was like saying how comfortable people are just being like openly racist. This is no different than that.
That's insane. What does he say?
Well, I don't know. Here, if you missed it, here, we're going to run it again.
Saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Mehdi Hasan says, I'm a supporter of the Palestinian cause. And he replies with, yeah, well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off, to a Muslim man.
I want to see what he says.
Thing is that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. I said, no, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Oh, he got scared. He's like, no, I did not say that. Oh, no, you did.
No, I did not.
Hold
On
on.
live TV.
I said I hope
Guys,
you don't.
let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
Of the Palestinians.
of Hamas.
Guys, let me
said
stop.
Palestinians.
Are you a supporter
Am I
of
what?
Hamas?
No, of course I'm not a supporter of
Palestinians are
Hamas.
not.
Then I apologize.
Are you a
Then I
racist,
apologize.
violent person?
Then I apologize. Oh, dude, damn, dude.
Oh,
That's cool, man. That's nice. Good stuff. He said you should be a victim of a terror attack that Israel conducted.
so who is this guy?
I don't know. Some guy who's way too comfortable. What happened to canceling people? There's no such thing, man. There's no such thing. I think people will eventually finally come to that reality. There's no real, like, that doesn't happen. You only get canceled if you did something that's like worthy of people hating you, and you can only get canceled by your own side, your own fans. Okay? That's it. You don't actually get quote unquote canceled by the opposition. Okay? And even then, that's not even a real thing.
Ryan.
That's disgusting.
That is completely.
Then I apologize.
Good
That
job,
is
CNN. Let's
completely
have first
out
block
of
say the
pocket.
Muslim guy
You
should
know
be
that.
blown
Then I
up
apologize.
on
Then I
TV.
apologize.
Don't
Then I
say
apologize.
then I
Wow.
apologize. You literally.
say
I
it.
thought you said
accused
Hamas.
him.
I apologize.
You didn't think I said
No.
Hamas.
No,
I
you
said I
didn't.
support a
Oh my God.
That's so funny. That's great, man. Good stuff. No, keep popping. What happened, big dog? What happened? Native New Yorker, Roman Catholic.
Roman Catholic.
Dude, this tracks. Are you kidding me? Christian Zionists are
No,
literally the
but-
most. The Christians, he's a
I
groiper,
thought he was a
dude.
gay Republican.
Christian Zionists are the most like, yeah, he probably is.
Okay. It's just kind of like two.
Wait, he's not gay?
No, allegedly not.
Christian Zionists are so unhinged, dude.
Palestinian
Yes, I
rights.
did.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is
you
Rudy
hear Hamas.
Giuliani said this
No,
yesterday,
because-
so you're a great guest to
Listen.
be here
All
to
right,
defend
I
Rudy
told
Giuliani.
myself
Give me-
I wasn't going to
give me-
entertain
give me one
nonsense
second.
today, and so at this point,
This is what we're in
I
now.
can't
This
do
is America in
Here's what
2024.
I will say.
Forget the
Here's what
racism.
that's right.
It's I should
That's
die.
right.
I didn't
That's-
say
that-
that. You
You
should
said,
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't give me your
I
fake
did not say
ignorance.
you should
Guys,
die.
Why did you say
guys,
with my
give me-
beeper
give me
go
a-
off?
What did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
So what
I
did
said-
you mean?
What did you
No,
mean by the
no,
beeper?
no, 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 no.
No, you didn't. You said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan, stop talking.
At least have the guts to
I'm
support your
so
racist
sorry.
comment.
Hang
I'm
on.
so sorry.
Let her bring it back.
This
Let her bring it back.
is
Hang on.
why. This is why yesterday's rally was disgusting.
Don't call us
and
Nazis, but I'm going to
outrageous.
threaten the brown guy as a
This is
terrorist
why.
and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler. But do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris
here,
is a pimp
apologize,
handler.
but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it
That's
to
fine.
me.
I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting. But I can be offended when you don't even say it to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said
Okay.
yesterday. And I'm offended that the former president and potentially future president would allow it.
Okay, so is this guy actually not gay? Because like,
still laser focused on that.
I mean, I can't like.
Look, he's doing gay face.
You're not.
Look,
I didn't say it. He's gay. He's gay.
Look.
He's gay. I didn't say it. He's gay. Okay.
Is that? Am I gonna?
He's a gay physiognomy. Oh, no, he is. He's got my gaydar is beeping.
Oh,
Okay.
God, am I gonna get canceled?
It's doing 8 Röntgen. Okay.
Look, it was a joke. It was a joke.
No, don't get offended. No, don't. People are fake offended. Okay.
12 hours and not say, I don't care. Because you know what? When Kamala Harris put out statements about switching up opinions, it wasn't good enough for Republicans.
Why are you looking at me?
CNN panels are so funny. They just have like the most insane people now. Like they've always had insane people, but like nowadays it's just like they'll be like, hey, we have Groypers for Hitler.
Yeah.
A super PAC that just came out for Donald Trump. It's like, okay, why is that guy on a panel on national television? Like, you guys are supposed to be like a serious news outlet. What the is happening?
Oh, God.
Yeah, here we brought two Republicans who are slightly in disagreement over one another to argue on why Donald Trump's rhetoric towards migrants is actually acceptable to varying degrees.
We're back here, and before we get started, I want to just address what happened in the last segment. And first, I want to apologize to Mehdi Hasan for what was said at this table. It was completely unacceptable. When we get this discussion started, you'll see that Ryan is not at the table. There is a line that was crossed there, and it's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to us at this network. We want discussion. We want people who disagree with each other to talk to each other. But when you cross the line of a complete lack of civility, that is not
They took him out back. Yeah.
going to happen here on this show.
He's been banned from Grindr too, I heard.
It's a heated time. We're in the middle of a political season. We are 8 days from a presidential election. But we can have conversations about what is happening in this country without resorting to the lowest of the lowest kind of discourse. Want to address that, and I want to apologize to the viewers at home because we want to be able to hear each other, we want to be able to talk to each other, and we plan to do that in this next segment.
The podcastification of traditional media, all these panels, just short form podcasts, everyone got to have one, dog. Yeah, it's just so insane.
Oh, man.
Bro, CNN banned him. It's like Hassan banning a chatter. Yeah, Abby Phillips clicked ban on his head. So speaking of jokes and hack material and just like straight up hatred, okay, this happened last night and we immediately covered it, obviously, as it happened last night. Mehdi Hasan went on a CNN panel, okay, and the guy breached Reddit containment. The guy who was in front of him basically was thinking that he could get away with saying some extremely Reddit type, extremely Twitter type. Okay, I said this is what happens when you think real life is like Reddit and Twitter. Point is, Mehdi Hasan is on a panel talking about racism from the Trump Nazi rally. Okay, and look at how the conversation falls apart so quickly.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You're
you
called an
stop saying-
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else at this table.
Yeah.
And people will
By
sit there
you.
and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I don't.
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it. Well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. Now, that is probably one of the most commonplace things I've heard since Israel did its terror attack on Lebanese soil that many people celebrated, like openly, okay? And it was very frustrating. It was very, very, very frustrating.
Do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris
here,
is a pimp.
apologize.
Now, there's something going on here that you have to understand. He is a Republican guy doing this, so now liberals will say, wow, this is unacceptable. The problem is, liberals have also kind of played a role in normalizing this kind of sentiment. Like, it's not that shocking when you have Biden's State Department anti-Semitism czar Deborah Lipstadt saying this exact same joke, basically, on a panel.
After October 7th, there was a feeling around the world that Israel is weaker. And in the
You want a beeper?
Like, that's the thing. This is something that people can like very openly be super callous about. And there are many other instances where directly on CNN, people have done this sort of. And, you know, I think it's like Reddit and Twitter breaching containment for sure. But beyond that, it's good that there is like at least some level of pushback. Okay. Is that a slur? I've never heard that word before. What do you mean, beeper? No, it's not a slur. It's just basically saying like you will be extrajudiciously assassinated by the state of Israel. That's what you're saying. When you make that joke, when you say like, oh, wow, your beeper is running, which many people did about Rashida Tlaib as well. And every single person that's like openly pro-Palestinian, especially if they're of a Muslim background or if they're from the area, if they're Arab, like people just go crazy with that. Every single Arab and Muslim content creator that is pro-Palestine has received those jokes a million times over. I don't know how many people we have banned in the aftermath, Israel exploding 2,000 pagers, killing a bunch of like first responders, killing a 9-year-old girl, and many others. Like, it's so incredibly commonplace. And that's the reason why I think this person is like very cool, calm, and collected. And dare I say, shocked when people call him out, when he realizes, oh, this is hostile. Look,
Did you just say I should die?
You should not.
No, I
Did
said,
you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. I said, no, I did not.
yeah, look at his face. Like, look at his face when he realizes, like, the moment that he realizes, like, uh-oh, like, he's having a little panic moment. I'm glad that there's a little bit of pushback at this point, but I think that, you know, part of the reason why they're doing it is because it's gotten so completely out of hand. Former TV booker explains that this is a major issue for network TV. CNN just removed a far-right panelist for a racist remark as progressive commentator Mehdi Hasan. This was the right decision, but as a former TV booker, what happened is a part of a much bigger problem. Before going independent, I used to be a producer on The Hill. Like all mainstream media shows, we were constantly trying to have a balanced panel discussion, but we always had a problem. It was very difficult to find Republicans who weren't crazy. Frequently, my colleagues would book right-wing commentators, and as someone who'd come out of conservative media, I often had to review them before they were put on air. More than a few times, people who were alt-right activists were booked before I removed them. Other times, we couldn't find anyone who was actually qualified to talk about the news of the day in a non-frothing manner. We had people offered who had made racist remarks, people who had stalked women, etc. The Republican media, meanwhile, made zero attempts at balance. We also had several commentators who expressed Christian supremacist ideas, which meant, of course, that they couldn't possibly add anything useful to Israel or Islam. This is what happened to the very long-suffering Abby Phillips tonight. The biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action in media are Republican commentators. That's true. The MSM are desperate to find anyone who can engage in civil dialogue without filibustering or collapsing into bigoted rants. This is why you often see the same Republicans everywhere. Republican elites have a huge quality problem on their side, but they don't care to do anything about it. That's because they realize that engaging in informational hygiene would shrink their very unstable coalition. They've chosen extremism and never get called on it. And it's true, okay? And especially when it comes to like Israel stuff, especially when it comes to Israel-Palestine related shit, liberals say the same exact unhinged things as well. Look at Bill Maher. Bill Maher says stuff like this on a regular basis. Congresspersons make these same jokes. Like, look at this. This is a representative.
They self-defense what Israel did with the pagers and how the walkie-talkie?
That's a Republican, okay? That's a Republican.
They killed an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Do you have your pagers on you? John Fetterman, on the other hand, is also defending the pager attacks in like non-hostile media environments, okay? Just so you understand, like the very same people that are outraged right now because a Republican said that joke directly to Mehdi Hasan's face are the same people that made those exact same jokes. The most revealing part of this train wreck was that this twerp's sniveling cowardice. He makes 2 rapid-fire, nasty, racist, disingenuous remarks, and then when he gets called on it, he goes for, oh, I'm so sorry, I misunderstood you. Was totally clear who this guy was from his Twitter feed, okay? Is it possible that Hezbollah just bought new Tesla pagers? I mean, I guess that's more of a joke on Tesla than it is about the pager attacks killing civilians, to be like unimaginably and endlessly charitable to that specific person. It's not the exact same kind of joke, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, you guys understand that like there are permission structures for genuinely Islamophobic sentiment being expressed here. And that is part of the reason why the Richard Spencer writer guy thought that he would be able to spew that nonsense comfortably on CNN, especially when CNN has done this. CNN pundit calls Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar a public relations agent for Hamas with no pushback.
No, she's a Democrat. They're going to vote for Biden. I'm not surprised about that. I am surprised that in the year of our Lord, 2024, there is a public relations agent for Hamas sitting in the United States Congress.
He didn't get fired. He's still one of the most prominent Republican voices on CNN, okay? So understand that. This is what I mean when I say Islamophobia is so pervasive and so permissible, okay? It's just like the most normalized form of bigotry, where like in the United States of America, a white supremacist country built on those fundamentals, built on chattel slavery, indigenous ethnic cleansing. Americans have improved their ways in which they do anti-black white supremacist sentiment. Okay, so much so that even if someone is like a die-in-the-wool racist, there are certain things that they hear where they're like, oh, that's a bridge too far for me. Wouldn't go that far. You know, you could have a guy with like the identical politics of a Klansman who will still turn around and go, oh, saying the N-word with a hard R, well, that's a little bit much. Whereas Islamophobia and its social conditioning and it's like the propagandizing of Islamophobia is relatively new. It's a relatively new target. It's relatively new in comparison to like the inception of the American state revolving around anti-black white supremacy. So there is no masquerading. You can be like, no, these guys are all jihadis. They're all terrorists. They're all terrorists that need to be killed. That type of is not only pervasive, but totally accepted. The mainstream media needs to stop platforming dishonest and bigoted Republicans. America needs to hear what the far right thinks, but we don't need to hear their bigotry and trolling. Reporters can present these views and their significance. We don't need these bigots. Until CNN and other outlets return to the regular standards, they're going to keep having their right-wing commentators engage in self-destructive acts. Remember the imploding of Jeffrey Lord, Ed Martin, and Corey Lewandowski? These people keep horribly tarnishing the CNN brand. The hard reality is that Republicans are so far from center that they cannot engage in civil debate. The viewers would be better served by ending the right-wing food fights. We also don't need fictitious Republicans who lie constantly either, like Ronna McDaniel. CNN's Republican chief executives clearly are behind these recent Republican affirmative action hires. They suppose that having more right-wing droogs on air will get Republicans to flip away from Fox, but this will never work. For every Fox bot tuning in, they lose 2 disgusted viewers. And just closing on the root of Ryan Jerdusky, he is a full-on racist and radical Christian supremacist who has written for racist activist Richard Spencer, a Nazi, an out-and-about Nazi. He has been running on operation to block black and LGBT authors from school curricula. He should have never been on CNN. Richard Spencer confirms that this guy literally wrote for him more than a decade ago, but wrote for him nonetheless. The irrational both sides fetish has created a dynamic where it is more controversial to call a fascist what they are than it is for Republican politicians to praise Hitler like Trump and Mark Robinson do. Calling a Nazi is more controversial than being an actual Nazi. What the actual... I'll convert this into an essay, but in the meantime, here's what the current rising conservative host is up to is just as disgraceful. Ben Shapiro defended him on X. Imagine if someone had made a joke about October 7th directed at him on his platform. The hypocrisy is crazy. Yes, like that person would be locked up. It's just so annoying. Yeah, from writing for Richard Spencer to appearing on CNN. What a glow up for Ryan Jerdusky. Congrats to all involved. Yeah, Richard Spencer confirms it too. The only reason he faced backlash is because Hasan pushed back immediately too. Every other time it's been brushed over because nobody cared. Guys, Jake Tapper and Dana Fash are CNN's 2 top billed commentators, okay? They literally engaged in a similar conquest coming from the same exact Islamophobic place against Rashida Tlaib, okay? They did that against Rashida Tlaib. Now, of course, the views of some of the top billed commentators do not reflect the views of the entire institution. I'm not saying that every single person has those exact same opinions, but understand why people like this think it is perfectly normal to say like this on CNN. That's it. And it's interesting to think because when Dana Bash and Jake Tapper were doing that to Rashida Tlaib, they were doing that as Rashida Tlaib was being attacked with virulent, open Islamophobic attacks that made the same exact joke about her beeper exploding, potentially. Like that was a cartoonist that posted a cartoon of Rashida Tlaib and a beeper right after the attacks from Mossad, the terror attacks on Lebanese civilian population in Lebanon. I hope that people understand what they are doing. There are plenty of open-minded individuals who value themselves as progressive, who do repeat some of these talking points, and I urge them to reconsider, okay? I urge them to, re-examine the way that they speak about Palestinians, about Arabs, about Muslims. This is a dangerous prospect, okay? I know that there will be some people, at least, that are coming into this community that will do that, I hope. There is zero room for racism or bigotry at CNN or on our air. We aim to foster thoughtful conversations and debate, including between people who profoundly disagree with each other, in order to explore important issues and promote mutual understanding. But we will not allow guests to be demeaned or for the line of civility to be crossed. Ryan Jerdusky will not be welcome back at our network. Yeah, they clapped a Nazi, but like, why did they have a Nazi on to begin with is a great question to ask. And, if left unexamined, this kind of sentiment will continue to grow.